wait, you got something up there too.
Oh, no. Got it? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Can we turn the lights down, Kim? I can't
Yes.
see. And popcorn?
I can see. I can't hear, but I can see.
Excellent. All right. All right. Come back to order. And Chief Duncan is here to discuss with us police officers' body cameras lease options.
So, good afternoon. Back in January of this year, we made a presentation during the Mayor's Roundtable to the citizenry on our body cameras, and we came away with from that with a couple of task items. I'm going to present the majority of what we presented back in January to you for consideration, plus the updates that we have so far.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You're gonna
Actually,
say
might be
the-
Turn it a little bit more
Yeah.
back towards her.
Let's try that. There we go.
Thank you.
What was that? All right,
That
so
chair might be in the way.
a lot has changed in the world of body cameras, body-worn cameras for police officers, even within our own state, but essentially we're looking at that first-person perspective from our police officers when they are wearing these. We have been test wearing several different models. Brief history, we see them first come onto the law enforcement scene back in 2005 over in the UK. Here in the States, 2012, really Rialto PD jumps in with a major study, and they find a reduction of use of force complaints locally. Fruitland PD began theirs in 2013 with Taser Corporation, and we started our research back in March of 2014. At the time this presentation was made, back in January, there were 14 jurisdictions in this state using the body-worn camera system. Essentially, we're looking to record all of those police-public encounters. We're looking at these items to enhance our evidence collection at scenes. We're going to be using them for training to reduce misconduct. We found in our research that they're going to be able to enable us to increase both officer and citizen accountability, improve relations, and enhance public confidence in the entire criminal justice system. In Rialto, what they found was that they were able to reduce the number of complaints that came in to their officers or on officer behavior by about 88%, which is not bad at all. Up until recently, we had looked at 4 body-worn camera systems, which were all integrated into the microphone of the portable radio that we currently use. We had done this because in early 2014, really the other body-worn camera options were very bulky and added a battery component to the duty belt that our police officers wore. So this seemed to be a nice integrated system for us, was including it right into the microphone system. We have moved away from that, and I'll get into that. On the vast majority of the ones that we tested, there was no preset trigger. What do I mean by that? So currently we have in-car video system through Panasonic. It's called the Panasonic Arbitrator, and we are able to program a number of presets. In other words, when a police officer activates their overhead lights, when they get to a certain speed limit, and a host of other things, the system automatically comes on. These microphone integrated body cams do not come with that option. Let's see if I can get this to play.
Sorry, you want me to?
Did you say that the integrated ones, the ones that you just showed us, don't have those options?
That's correct.
Okay,
They don't come
thank you.
with triggers. You have to actually activate them.
Thank you.
This is a
Okay, close the door. Close the door, partner. Wait till I get up there, all right? Close the door. The window not roll down? Okay, all right. That's fine. I understand. Do you have your license and registration?
All right, so a couple of things I need to point out to you here. This is one of the demos that we did with one of the systems, and it is a nighttime stop. There's no infrared on this. It is just what the officer sees and perceives, and I will get into what that means in just a moment. I will show you what the infrared does in one of these. You're going to see the infrared on this one. That's when it goes to infrared. The officer is not changing that view.
We're gonna go back to, I'll explain to you, just hang tight for a second. Relax, 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 relax.
The infrared comes on automatically for the enhanced view.
Alright, let's go back here. Let's get out of the rain. Alright, what's gonna happen is, it's not the end of the world, just listen for a second, okay?
Okay, so there's a lot of debate in the industry right now whether or not we want to go with the enhanced view, which when it detects the low light, it's going to turn to infrared, or just go with what the officer sees. That is a problem for us in court, and would probably have to be explained, so we are stepping away from the infrared capability.
Chief, he's having trouble picking you up on the microphone. Maybe you just want to use one here at the table.
On this microphone over here?
No, because
When
walking
you're
back and forth
walking
when
away.
you're talking.
Yeah, one of the.
Okay.
How you doing, man? You're being horribly visual recorded, just like, what happened?
Just coming from the imaging X-ray, and I'm not nothing. Suddenly, I found myself here.
Do you remember what happened?
I'm just driving, like every day, and
Did a car cut you off, or you on any medication or anything?
nothing. Just I have an X-ray here appointment, and I'm just coming out from here, and I'm trying to drive, and suddenly I found myself in this.
Were you using your phone, maybe?
No.
Again, these are all coming in from the body-worn mics that are attached to the microphone itself for the portable. You will see this one switch over as well between what the officer actually sees and then the enhanced extra lighting conditions.
Hey, it's cold out there, I'll tell you. Get out of here. What are they saying tomorrow?
Okay. You can see there's a big difference between the two. These are some still shots, again, all from the microphone on the radio. This is the camera
Chief.
system that we're looking at right now.
Chief,
Yes.
how are the still shots taken?
There's just a toggle, just
You just press the,
This is the camera system that we're looking at right now. And for the purposes of size, really, if you just take a look at my phone, my cell phone, this is the size of the device that you're looking at here. It's not very large, and it hooks right to the officer's uniform. The battery life is can accommodate up to between 60 and 72 hours of standby time, and it's got the quick charge. This is a Panasonic. The reason that we're looking at it is because it integrates with the in-car video system we currently have. So the officers don't have to learn another platform. They already are familiar with how to search their files. It will download right to the system when they pull up at headquarters, as we already have that system in place. And this too takes still photos as well. And what we liked about it was because we have the arbitrator in the cars now, we have 6 of the newer models of the arbitrator system. This can, with software, be programmed to where it will automatically come on with the same presets as are in the car. This is where much of the debate is centering right now in the industry. Do we want officers turning them on manually, or do we want them to just rely on presets? But we can have this option, so if we go with this, we would probably try it both ways, see if the officers are remembering to turn it on, or if it's just better off with the presets that come with it.
Chief,
it's wireless.
Does this have the capability to go, once it's triggered, no matter which way it's triggered, to go back 30 seconds? Is that
Yes,
automatic?
this also, they all
Okay.
come with the 30-second pre-record.
Okay.
So that's the standby mode. It's currently in standby mode. And then when an event happens, when one of the triggers automatically, one of the presets automatically triggers, or the officer turns it on, that 30-second standby mode is preserved as part of the recording. Okay?
Where on the uniform does this sit exactly? Center
Typically-
mass or?
Typically
off to
here,
the side?
sometimes it's, right up here.
Okay. Is that officer's preference?
Pretty much, yeah. This actually comes with an additional camera that sits on the lapel, so it's a two-part system, but that's not, we don't really need that for our purposes. We're finding that the officers were wearing their microphones up here anyway, so this will fit just fine up here, and it's pretty much, it's gonna capture that full view anywhere the officer's body is. Of course, it's not gonna catch his eyes. Taser, you could purchase the camera torpedo, the little tube for the glasses, but we've gotta buy everybody glasses then at that point, and then you're gonna go pretty much, where the head is gonna go.
This is 3.2 ounces total with battery?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right.
Yeah.
So it's rapidly, this is definitely the field to be in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as
Is the
far as-
microphone integrated into this one too?
No, this is standalone, this is by itself.
Okay,
the
so if they're
microphone-
used to wearing their microphones here and they replace it with the camera, then they've got to find another
A
place.
lot of them, prior to the testing that we did, they were wearing their microphones over the top of, so if my microphone is here, I would bring it up around over my right shoulder since it's on my left hip.
Right.
But that was causing the camera view to be upside down. So they had to rework it so that the microphone was hanging here. So it won't interfere. They can go back to what they were accustomed to doing. Some important things here that I need to tell you about before I show you the video on this product. We did look into the lease option with this particular unit. They do have a lease option. In fact, most of these companies do. This technology is evolving rapidly. In fact, they couldn't even give us the demo on it because it's changed. It's gone through so many changes. We will get 2 of these during the first week of May. The total price for 105 units is a total of $164,000. For each month, because it's a lease option, the monthly price on it is $5,250 for 36 months. The 4th year, you could purchase it for $1, and then that gives you the time to determine whether you want to change platforms or get the next generation of this particular unit. Now, most of, there's training involved in that. There is storage involved in that, and it covers all of the police officers in our agency. Plus it gives us, we can shave that down a little bit, back to the 102 that we're budgeted for, because we would also get with that the Protection Plus plan for that price in there, which would basically cover us if the device got run over or broken or whatever the problem happened to be. Let's see, what else can I tell you? All software updates are included. The software update that they're working on right now includes the integrated crime scene look. So if several officers have the body cameras and some of the officers have the in-car videos, they will give you a total crime scene view instead of, well, let me see what you have and let me see what you have. It'll package it up for you. let me show you the video on this particular device before I get into the next segment of this.
You still use tough books in the cars, don't you? Yes.
So what you're seeing here is that this is called fish eye view. They no longer offer that. This is the same footage.
Wow.
This is what you're going to get with this model. And on the left, of course, is just how it's normally seen. I'm going to play this again. On the right is with the software stabilization. So they don't make two recordings. It's one recording.
It's like a steady cam.
It's like
It
steady
is.
cam.
And so you can see on the left and then the right, the stabilization software applied.
What a difference.
Okay? Now, I don't have a nighttime version to show you, but the nighttime version on this would be the same as the ones without the infrared, without the enhanced view.
It looks like in the video, they're having to hold it in place.
They do. You know, that's all officer preference.
Okay.
Let me play those again for you. Yeah, they do hold them in place.
You say
But
that's
he's not-
officer preference, meaning the officer can set it to on and not hold it down?
No, it depends on how it's secured.
Whether it's flopping.
Oh, the officer is literally just holding the device.
Yeah, you can see the hand in the lower portion of the screen there.
Okay.
See where he's kind of,
Yeah.
That's his
More
running
obvious
game.
than some of them.
right, that's his hand that he's running with.
But on the left, you see it more, the fisheye view.
You'll see it in just a minute. There it
There.
is.
Yeah.
So it's not,
But he's not pressing to record, he's
Uh-uh.
just
No,
stabilizing
he's
the
just
camera.
holding it in
now,
place.
you can, like I said, you can press to record, or if it's synced up with the newest model of the arbitrator system, you can determine those presets wirelessly to make them the same presets that are in the patrol vehicles.
So we
Chief,
have-
I'm sorry, go ahead, Laura.
So we have 6 of the newer models that will
Yes.
do that integration. How many do we have that won't?
I believe that there are 7 additional, but they were the ones that we had purchased some years ago.
So Chief, you said $102,000. Is that, we haven't gotten to that point in the budget yet. Is that in the FY16 budget?
Actually, 164,000.
164,000.
Right,
Two
at-
units.
For
102 units, excuse me.
Right,
Okay.
at $5,250 a month for 36
And we're
months.
talking the FY16 budget.
Yes.
Okay. Now, question regarding funding for that. It was my understanding that some federal dollars were put out for departments to acquire cameras. Do you know anything about?
Hasn't dropped yet. The local, the
Okay.
legit funding has dropped,
Okay,
and it's $2,500. But we are applying for that.
sure.
But we are
Okay.
applying for that.
Thank you.
Do you have backseat cameras at this point?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Let's see. What else could I talk to you about this? All right, so, again, with this, what we're talking about, that our costs really start to expand when you talk about storage. We do have on-premises storage capabilities right now, and then we have backup for that storage capability as well. I know there was some discussion earlier at this presentation about the cloud. Right now, Microsoft is working on a law enforcement-only cloud, but they have to meet certain federal guidelines. There are a couple of states that are already meeting those federal guidelines. We are not one of them right now. But we'll see what Microsoft comes up with and how expensive that is. Storage doesn't sound like a big issue right now, but what we're finding initially, agencies that are using the body-worn camera system, in a 12-hour shift, their officers were recording a total of about 2 hours per shift per day. Now they're up to about 4 hours per shift per day because the officers are realizing the benefit in it. Okay, so storage becomes a problem kind of you know, it exponentially starts to grow. There are timetables in place, so most of the footage that you see will expire unless it becomes associated with a criminal case where there will be additional retention requirements that go beyond the resolution of the case. So it's that post-case time period which could extend for many years. That's where you really start to grow your storage requirements. And that'll have to be a consideration that we really have to think about now and not 5 years from now when we're scratching our heads going, we're out of room and I don't know how to fix that. So part of that problem we're already starting to look at now, and we're watching what Microsoft does with its secure law enforcement cloud and the CJIS requirements that are strictly applied only right now to the federal government, but it just stands to reason that it'll apply to us as well.
For the retention, you said? So-
Retention, secure access, you know, yes.
I'm wondering, I know when we did the document destruction, it wasn't just documents, it was all our records. And there was some question about how long we had to keep certain information. Have you looked to see whether the state has that on their schedule yet?
Yes, the state, this particular issue?
Yeah,
Well, we're working with the state archivist right now to make sure that we're following the retention guidelines for specific types of information, and we're meshing that with the city's requirements. So far, right now, it's on the same, time schedule. In other words, this is, if it's evidence in a homicide, it doesn't get deleted at all, ever. You maintain that in perpetuity. Different types of just basic interaction with citizens where there's no complaint and no criminal event associated with it, that follows the city's mandates, which are within the state's requirements on that. There is obviously a lot of back-end work that needs to be done with this. Someone needs to have access and maintain these files and constantly, be aware of any pending litigation that comes down so that it's not automatically purged, as it can be after so many days. And we've already started identifying personnel within the agency that can help us with this. We are finalizing our use and recording policy right now. We're very concerned with the rights of individuals that happen to be on camera, that are not necessarily associated with any particular criminal investigation. We've seen out in Washington State where police departments are just wholesale putting stuff right on YouTube, just putting it out there. And it's easily searchable because they are inundated, they are overwhelmed. It is a paper landslide on Freedom of Information Act requests out there. That was their answer. We think that we can pretty much, the way that the Freedom of Information laws stand in this state, unless you're connected to the case, there are 7 different criteria which would enable you to get a hold of this type of information or a police report or something like that, and basically you need to be an interested party. So we can pretty much rule out the curious onlookers who just want to start collecting all this information and then blasting it out on public venues. Training does come with this particular program from Panasonic. It is another piece of equipment, another piece of technology that our officers are going to have to learn how to use. But it's, our industry is rapidly evolving right now, so this is one of the other pieces of training that they're going to have to undergo. We do not right now have any equipment in place for redaction. In other words, we can't pixelate anyone's image out right now. That would have to be a consideration. I do know that some entities are doing that now. Some departments do pixelate when they release in order to protect privacy rights. We don't have any of that equipment. That equipment is another consideration for us moving forward. Right now, if we get 15 minutes of footage, it takes one of our staffers about 45 minutes to make sure that it gets archived. And then anywhere from 45 minutes to 60 minutes to burn that onto several discs and getting it prepared for court And it's not just, it's not just the state's attorney, it's the defense attorney who gets that as well, plus the case file. To give you an example how big, and this particular system, you need to add about 65 terabytes, which we are capable of doing. We have that in place. And to give you an example, about 200 terabytes equals 50,000 filled DVDs, just to picture it in your mind what we're talking about. So this is what happened in Seattle PD, which is why they just decided, you know what? We are not going to process this. We're just going to put it all out there. And they did. And they did. And that's all searchable on YouTube.
Have there been any consequences of doing that for them?
Well, it's lightened their workload.
Well, I mean, legal consequences, any challenges, any?
I don't understand their Freedom of Information Act requirements out there, but
Sounds like they're pretty loose.
yeah, they're a lot less restrictive than ours. Field of view, the Panasonic arbitrator is about 130 degrees field of view, which is not bad. Of course, the important thing is it's not going to replace the actual investigator, but it will definitely enhance what that investigator is able to do. Any other questions related to this particular piece?
What's the feedback you've gotten from the officers who have worn them?
It's been positive. They don't seem to mind to wear them. It's actually been helpful for them to review the footage, so they can get the report correct, which is important. And we've been able to use them for training issues as well, to help improve officer safety. Integrity is a big part of that, and I think it will go a long way to bolstering that integrity. I think what we're finding, it speaks volumes that officers across the nation are increasingly using more and more this piece of equipment in their work.
I guess what I'm seeing is that, although there are many costs associated with it and infrastructure changes needed and, new training needed and data storage additions needed, those seem to be the facts of life in adding this piece of equipment that, by and large, is becoming a standard part of police work.
Rapidly so. In 2005, no one really discussed body-worn cameras at all. We were all getting used to the in-car video system, and there was resistance in that. That was Big Brother's looking at me, and the administration's looking to jam me up. And now it's, you know what, this is probably going to resolve that civilian complaint rapidly. And I will actually also I don't have to rely strictly on memory of just what happened. I can pull this back up. So even that is shifting as far as what police officers themselves are finding with this type of equipment. So like it or not, this is the next step in the evolutionary process of criminal justice, specifically law enforcement work at the street level.
This is probably one of those things where you don't just look at return on investment, you look at cost avoidance.
Yeah.
Lawsuits. And I think if you look at cost reduction, once Matt gets it, I'm sure his convictions are a lot easier for him when you have those kinds of videos and detail. Is there any figures that show with process cases without video versus with video in terms of time, length of time of?
I don't have any of that on hand. I'm sure that there probably is. I could tell you that when it comes to traffic court, it's very helpful.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very, very helpful in traffic court.
Yeah.
But yeah, the return on investment is right there. It's right where it needs to be.
Other thoughts, questions?
How much of this is in the budget, in the 16 budget already?
We haven't put any of it into the 16 budget.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
What does that mean?
Is there a reason that was not included, Mr. Stevenson?
Other than we weren't sure whether or not we were going to move forward with the use of the device.
Okay.
So the lease option's $52.50 a month for 36 months. What else of that, I guess, I don't mean for you to answer this immediately, but before we get to police department discussion in the budget, what are the other necessities that would have to happen in FY16 to make this a reality? I know we need extra storage, you said you would need.
We've got that, that's
the-
built into this price,
Okay,
along with the training and the replacement cost, should any of them get damaged. Software upgrades are included in this. Yeah, in fact, we just met with the representative today to make sure we had a good understanding of that. So that is a complete package picture.
okay. At least for FY16, then we may outgrow the storage capacity that they have, or,
I don't think so, not initially, and then we can look at other options. Remember, because most of this will time out, but as you start saving it for other cases that have other time periods associated with them, that's when it starts to grow. Because this storage piece will simply time out after so many days, unless it's involved. So let's say an officer does have 4 hours of footage. Most of that will time out, because it's not associated with a complaint, it's not associated with a criminal event, and then only those portions of it that are connected to complaints and events and lawsuits, they will have to be stored. 65 terabytes will be enough to get us going now, but like I said, we can't wait until the 5-year mark and then decide now what we do.
right, that's why I was asking for upfront what we need, but nothing for this year.
Correct.
Let's say that there is a piece of footage and there is a criminal case involved and you need to retain that. The rules of evidence, does it have to be kept in its original form, or can it be put on a DVD and stored that way to free up the cloud space?
From the research that we've done so far, it could be stored into the cloud or it could be placed on the DVD. And the prosecution gets one, the defense gets one, and we retain one.
Okay.
I think if you look at the history of volume and storage in the last 5 years, they're coming up with things now, and they're talking about things that'll put these numbers to shame.
Yeah,
So I think what we're going to find is, as the technology continues to grow and the demand continues to grow, you're going to find storage that is probably cheaper than the storage we have today in order to be able to handle those things, because there has to come a point in time when they're going to be, and I like the idea of a secure law enforcement cloud.
Correct.
I mean, that's pretty,
secure as cloud
that's pretty
can
good.
get.
Yeah.
Cloud.
I have a question. Did you not say that you're getting 2 in May?
Correct, a demo?
A demo, okay.
Demo. Yeah.
It's not costing.
No.
I just
no.
don't understand why it's not in the budget. I thought when did we meet before? When did we meet on this? We met
From
in
62.
October,
In
November.
the
When did
mayor's
we-
neighborhood.
There was a, mayor's name.
Mayor, and then you came to us before. You came and presented this to
We said,
us. Oh, it was the mayor's round table. I
That's correct.
attended.
The only place was Mayor's Round.
Mayor's
Did
round
it
table.
ever come to
That's right.
council?
No.
No.
This is the first time it came to council.
That's correct.
So, I think it would be fair to say that there was an assumption that council might be resistant.
Perhaps.
So what now?
There was, I think it would be fair to read that there was an assumption that council might be resistant to the idea. But, more informed, I think.
I think
If
we
I'm
should-
reading council right, there's interest in supporting this program,
It's
Yes,
correct.
correct?
The climate that's out there now, I would support the cameras. Because I think that it not only protects the police officer, protects the citizen also.
Very much so.
Yeah, and that's why I would tend to support the body cameras. And from people in the general public that I talk to, I think, they see more and more need for that.
And once the attorneys get wind of it, there are going to be fewer and fewer cases coming before the courts regarding some of these arrests.
So I think the thing to do, or when we get to the police department in the budget, is to, council can consider a change to expense. And I guess we need to have a conversation as best we can about those when and if federal monies might be released?
We're
and whether
watching. Yes,
okay,
we're watching.
and whether or not that would be realistic to anticipate any revenue, and if not, then we need to just go ahead and put it in on the expense side, and council's gonna have to deal with the revenue side.
Correct.
I agree with
Which will begin again tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, the police department was rescheduled. It was originally scheduled for Thursday.
So other than budget, is there like, any mechanism that the police, or the administration sees that we need, the council would need to take in approving or adopting this program? Okay, so the only consensus I would look for is that council is prepared to add to the FY16 budget the recommended.
Yes, I do have one more question, something that came up in the roundtable, and that was consent. It was briefly addressed here. At this point, unless something changed in the legislature that I missed this year, they have to announce that they're being recorded and visually recorded and get consent, correct?
They have to announce that they're being audio and visually recorded here in this county. That's not consistent with what's happening statewide. It really depends on where you are. The law obviously needs to be updated. It's out of date with technology, and it's out of date with social needs right now. There's also the other fact that, which I did not point out, is that everyone is recording everyone. And we aren't, it took the industry a little while to realize that our public can in fact record us doing the public's work in public space as long as we don't interfere with that public work. And there's no requirement to announce. When it comes to our jurisdiction, it was thought to be, this was reviewed by the state's attorney as well, and it was thought to be most prudent to announce that, and then to develop a policy that's consistent with protecting the rights to privacy, certainly as we enter someone's home, unless it's germane to the actual criminal investigation. When we're entering those private areas, we do have to announce and get consent. They can decline unless something happened in the home that we absolutely need to record it.
Domestic abuse, for instance?
Certainly. So the way that it is written right now, unless someone objects after we announce, we're going to continue to record, not necessarily looking for the assent or the actual verbal consent or the body language consent. Unless they actually object, we're going to continue with the recording. We've also built into the policy that private space, locker rooms, bathrooms, the privacy of your own home, things like that. Those are no-fly zones, unless you're going in to investigate some type of an assault that took place there.
Right.
But the Maryland Chiefs have compiled a report on this item, and they are pushing forward to make changes in the law. I don't know if that's up this term or next, but they've realized the inconsistency, the gap in the law as well.
They're done for this year, so it'll have to be next year, barring a special session. But
Right.
that was a concern for me, because at that point, we weren't sure, and I just kept thinking, well, somebody that has the intent to do something to the officer or to run or whatever would just say, no, I don't consent, and then you don't have anything on video anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep, that's true.
I'm glad to hear that.
That's true. Some entities are not even announcing. I guess it's so ingrained in their fabric that, it's well known that they're constantly recording. But we felt prudent here to make that announcement, give the opportunity for the objection, and then move forward from there.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments from council? All right, it sounds like
Thanks,
there's
Chief.
consensus to add it to the agenda,
Right.
or add it to the budget. so.
We will, we'll start working on that to figure it out.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Anything else for the good of the order? If not, it's been a long day, and I'll see you at 9:30 tomorrow morning. What's that? Bagels. Bagels.
What do you
We're adjourned.
Toaster, right?
And a toaster, right?